Hello there, welcome back to RT International. Once a renowned coal mining powerhouse, Donbass in eastern Ukraine is now picking up the pieces following months of civil war. February's ceasefire agreement has given local workers an opportunity to try and rebuild, and the hope that their efforts won't be ruined by more fighting. RT's Ilya Petrenko visited the mines.
Coal mine tunnels and shafts which snake below ground are nothing without support from the surface. When we arrived at the Kommunarskaya complex, it was clear that help could no longer be provided. Much of the vital above-ground infrastructure has been leveled.
Все проходы, все комнаты были завалены, значит, тем, что упало с крыши, сгоревшие стены. Все это было завалено. Взрыв был в углу, там, где кабинет главного инженера. Вот, взрыв был в центре, взрыв был с другой стороны.
This is a very, very sad scene. Almost nothing's been left of this building that once used to house the coal miners' canteen. But I found one tiny sign of positiveness amid this destruction. As you can see, workers tried to put any ceramic tiles that were left unscathed into piles like this to reuse them, which shows that these people really want to revive this place as best as they can.
Любая стенка, любая крыша, любая дверь, понимаете, на ней есть отпечаток. Отпечаток чего? Отпечаток снарядов, отпечаток разрывов, отпечаток осколков.
А на крыше нет.
А крыши нет, потому что крышу восстановили, ее вообще не было. Крыша была проваленная, сгоревшая.
Да?
Да. Значит, мы идем к тепловозу. Значит, что он выполнял? Переставить, поставить, переманевровать. И лучше всего это делать своей техникой. У нас такая была техника, тепловоз, вот, который в результате военных действий получилась груда металла. Мы многое восстанавливаем. Я вам рассказывал двигатели, кабельную продукцию, понимаете? А это мы не можем восстановить. То есть теперь мы вынуждены старым дедовским способом лебедками тягать вагоны, Хотим работать, хотим зарабатывать.
Единственное, что за детей только спокойно и все, что не стреляют. А так, надо где-то работать. А что делать? Не восстановишь, работать не будешь.
Когда ты на работе, а вокруг стреляют, дети твои прячутся, а ты работаешь и ничего сделать не можешь, можешь поддержать там, конечно, проще сейчас стало, намного проще.
The next step is to fully restore operations underground. Bringing them back to life will be a different story altogether, and tough challenges lie ahead. Ilya Petrenko in the Donetsk region for RT.
Half a century ago today, the first person to perform a spacewalk touched down in the depths of a Russian snow forest. Alexei Leonov, he had felt the void through the thin layer of his spacesuit, and his crew partner as well, he was with him, and they had to then survive in the wilderness for 2 days before they were rescued. Now, winter forest survival skills would later be included in the Soviet cosmonaut training program as a result of this. Now, one thing that had already been included was extreme physical exercise, of course, pushing the bodies of cadets to absolute limits. Now, here's Alexei Leonov himself. He's recording his experiences in the spacesuit.
Чтобы сжать перчатки, усилие 25 килограмм. 25 килограмм. Я эти 2,5 года чем только не работал, и грушами, мечами. В общем, я довел левую и правую руку под 90 килограммов жим.
Now, Leonov, he also discovered a novel and effective way of losing weight. During the 12 minutes of his historic spacewalk, the cosmonaut lost 6 kilograms, would you believe, and that's due to all the stress of it all. But, as Alexei Leonov says, the challenges began way before his first step into the abyss.
Перед тем, как выйти, я уже 30 минут находился под давлением той среды, а именно высоты 500 километров.
Leonov, his heavy breathing was recorded, and it was used in a Stanley Kubrick's iconic movie, Space Odyssey. Have a listen. Well, Professor of Space Law at the University of Nebraska, Franz von der Dunk, he says that Leonov's spacewalk came at a hefty price.
Well, it was certainly a major milestone because it meant that for the first time a human being had left the relatively safe confinement of a spacecraft and there was only a thin layer of clothing between him and the endless void and vacuum of outer space. It was an extremely dangerous venture as well that Alexei Leonov almost almost lost his life in the process. Only Buzz Aldrin in his last Gemini flight for the first time really mastered the art of how to move around in space in a free-floating manner. So it certainly was a major milestone.
Well, the space legend also sent a strong message of peace at the height of the Cold War, of course. Now, RT's Gayane Chijikan, she reports on his friendship with NASA astronaut Tom Stafford.
In March of 1965, Tom Stafford was preparing to become the first man to walk in space.
Suddenly on TV, they had this picture of Alexei out there walking in space. We said, wow, they're ahead of us again.
Little did Tom Stafford know that 10 years later, he and Alexei Leonov would work together as part of the first joint space mission between the Soviet Union and the United States. Their handshake in space at the height of the Cold War, to many, was symbolic.
And so it was, number one, a demonstration to the whole world that two countries with different languages, different units of measurements, and certainly greatly different political systems could work together for a common goal.
Stafford and Leonov planted this tree in 1975, shortly before their fateful mission.
It's a symbol of our friendship.
Their friendship, though, went far beyond space.
On Stary Druk Menya, Volremi Mnoga Let.
11 years ago, Alexei Leonov helped the Staffords adopt two Russian boys.
I'd lived in Russia. I got to know the people, and I knew their characteristics. I wanted two Russian sons, and it's worked out great.
Tom Stafford shows me the room of his youngest son, Stas, who is now 20 years old.
Russian flag. And
the elder son, Michael, went to Russia this past summer to study at the firm led by Alexei Leonov.
When I was in Russia the whole time, this summer, he always referred me as his son. So that's very special to me to hear that from him.
His granddaughter is named after my daughter, and my grandson's middle name is Alexei, named after him. So, we're very close friends, very close. He's like a brother to me.
Was Cold War an obstacle? Was there any tension at all?
No. We kept politics, all that, completely out of it. We were there as professionals.
Stafford says the same holds today. There's no room for politics in their friendship. Speaking of the latest political tensions between the U.S. and Russia.
This is nothing compared to the height of the Cold War. Apollo Soyuz was at the very height of the Cold War. And so, what's going on now is, to me, minor compared to that.
They came from different systems. They learned each other's language. They grew to respect each other regardless of politics. For them, Cold War is long gone and will never come back. In Thomas Stafford's home in Florida, I'm Gayane Chijikan, RT.
An Eritrean-born American citizen is suing the FBI for pressurizing him to collaborate and torturing him in a foreign prison when he refused.
I've been traumatized, I've been tortured. I don't know who's after me, I don't know what the reason is. What people are trying to do, what they're trying to do to me. I'm just trying to stay safe. My safety is the most important thing. It's very disappointing. The government that I trust, the government that I hope that would protect me during a time of danger, let me down when I'm overseas, and then come to find out possibly they were the one who were actually orchestrating the whole event.
Jonas Fictra says he was arrested and interrogated in the United Arab Emirates, and that's after he refused to become an informant at his mosque in the US. We talked to his lawyer.
This continued for a period of 106 days, and during every one of those interrogations, he was blindfolded. And so he couldn't see who was doing the interrogating, with the exception that he could occasionally look underneath the blindfold and see pants, trousers, shoes, and dress of that sort. Sometimes there was Western dress, sometimes there was Arabic dress. Precisely the same thing happened to American citizens at the same prison with the same treatment and involving events in the United States, not in the UAE.
Stay put, it's bombast.